Good afternoon, my name is Lucinda. Today I will be speaking about a research paper discussing effective behaviour therapy and children with callous unemotional traits, or CU. CU traits were added in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders 5 as a specifier attached to conduct disorder. If a child is diagnosed as having CU traits, they are described as having limited prosocial emotions and can also display fearlessness and an insensitivity to punishment. Research suggests that approximately 10% of school-age children have issues around conduct, namely aggressive, disruptive behaviour and conflict. Children display these behavioural issues early, can often show more serious and concerning behaviours in adolescence with substance abuse and in adulthood with incarceration. 1/3 of children currently treated for behaviour problems show no improvement from current strategies. The aim of the study was to assess the effectiveness of modified behaviour interventions across 4 different treatment conditions. Treatment A was the standard treatment in which punishment and reward were delivered in a balanced manner. Children's behaviour shaped and reinforced with rewards of fun activities as well as recess and lunch. Punishment was operationalised as chores and detention. Children had behaviour cards which were filled out each day, and the token economy was used to reward positive behaviour, and points were also taken away for negative behaviour. 10 minutes of timeout was given to children who showed intentional aggression, intentional destruction of property, and repeated non-compliance. Treatment B was the low punishment treatment in which negative consequence for undesirable negative behaviours were minimised. The same procedures were followed from the standard treatment condition, except the 10-minute timeout was reduced to 2 minutes, and chores were discontinued as a punishment. There was no loss of points for negative behaviour. Treatment C was the high reward treatment in which positive consequences for positive or non-negative behaviour were maximised. High rewards matched the standard condition. In addition, children were given toys through a ticket system, where they earned tickets for exhibiting positive behaviours. Children were awarded the tickets for the toy shop every 15 minutes if there was no negative behaviour. Treatment D was the combined treatment in which punishments were minimised and rewards were maximised. Children were given high incentives not to misbehave and high reward treatments. The hypothesis was that children in the low punishment, high reward treatment would exhibit significantly less counts of negative behaviour, which is non-compliance, conduct problems, and negative verbalisations, than the high punishment treatment, where rates of negative behaviour would either stay the same or increase. The participants for the study consisted of 11 children, 91% male, 1 female, aged 7 to 11 years. All participants had a previous diagnosis of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, as well as either oppositional defiant disorder or conduct disorder. Families were recruited from a larger treatment program for their existing ADHD, and 83% of the children were Hispanic. The study was an experimental design using reversal design. Children were in one group of 11, and they had specially trained counsellors running various activities and assessing behaviour throughout. Group activities included 2 academic classes, an art class, recreational activities such as sport, swimming, lunch and recess across each weekday. Children were already enrolled in the 8-week summer treatment program for their previously identified conditions, and children were assessed in a group setting. The dependent variable is frequency of negative behaviour, recorded using the Disruptive Behaviour Disorders Rating Scale. The independent variable is the 4 treatment conditions that I spoke about. As predicted, children responded better to the low punishment model for treatment. However, there were some interesting findings. The combined condition had the highest rates of negative behaviour. Also, there was a trend for negative behaviour to increase over the time period. For example, after the first 2 weeks of the standard treatment condition, rates of negative behaviour had increased across all treatment conditions. Children with conduct problems and callous unemotional traits show a particular resistance to punishment. Further study is needed for effective behaviour modification and children with CU traits. Limitations recorded by the authors include a small sample size and discrepancies in counsellor behaviour as their relationships developed with the children over the course of the study. Also, deviancy training, where negative behaviours are reinforced by peers. This makes the group design of this study problematic. It is difficult to untangle treatment effects from order effects in this study to show cause for continued rates of negative behaviour. The study does not address sex differences effectively, with boys being overrepresented in this study. Also, the study does not represent cultural diversity. Children showed the quickest response to treatment in the first few days of a new treatment condition. Once children were familiar with the behaviour modification strategy, their rates of negative behaviour would actually increase. This suggests that across the conditions, behaviour management is ineffective as children learn to adapt to the new strategies. Being given the diagnosis of callous unemotional traits could carry a rather negative stigma, and children arguably may behave in a way to further entrench a stereotype of aggression, violent behaviour and disruption. Thank you for listening.